now the village idiot every day comes up with something outrageous so we can forget what he said the day before. But the latest things is ethnic cleansing about 2 million people from Gaza and turning Gaza to Riviera
Yes.
and he's going to come up with that experience a natural disaster. There is no genocide. There is no, the guy is standing next to him, a war criminal. He was wanted by the International Court, and he never mentioned the reason why Gaza is a disaster, and he wants to clear up and find a place for the Palestinian to live, like in Jordan and Egypt. So I know it's not even the Nakba, the Nakba wasn't even that blunt about ethnic cleansing people. So you wrote an article and you try to make that analogy about comparing to what Trump is proposing to the Nakba, and take us through the role of America and the role of Trump and what's going on now.
Boy, there's a lot there. Well, let me sort of start with a couple of observations here. One of them, remember, Donald Trump is a real estate developer in New York City. That's, and across the world. That's where he's made his money on developing real estate. And I think you're right. I think he views Gaza as what? The next great beachfront property for Trump Inc. at this point. And that the Israeli war against Gaza is just what? I don't know, a big urban removal program to clear out the land so that his son-in-law, him, and the Israelis can what? Develop the land. I mean, that's sort of my first impression to think about here. But my second impression in terms of what to think about here is the fact that this puts a whole new gloss on how to think about what's happening for the last year. That Biden's sort of passivity in terms of trying to squeeze Netanyahu in terms of stopping the war. We never really applied to squeeze, still sent arms, still sent weapons. And now Trump's sort of statement saying, let's clear them all out. You have to sort of think at this point, isn't this part of one big sort of, I don't know, continuation of something that's been going on since the founding of Israel? And the reason why I say that, there was a back in the 1970s, there was a person who ran for the U.S. Senate in California. And when asked about the thoughts about should we return the Panama Canal, he said, no, we stole it fair and square. Let's keep it. And there's a sense in which, for people who don't remember history here, Israel was founded by what? Stealing land from the Palestinians. And it's basically been an 80-year steal. And what's happened in the last year is an acceleration of that theft. And Trump is just the culmination, And I guess what? Finally admitting, let's solve the Palestinian problem by doing what? Let's just finally remove them from their own lands and send them somewhere else.
Isn't that what it's really been happening for the last 200 years? The idea of this, you're talking about Western, rational, colonial, imperial way of transfer people to maximize the outcome. So if the Jew have causing trouble and they're really as productive as they used to, because the middle class and people started doing the job they were doing, banks and whatever. So let's get rid of them and put them in Palestine. Let's put people, go to South Africa, transfer Dutch and British people to South Africa to exploit the resources there. Let's bring a million blacks and bring them to America to enslave. Let's put millions of people in Australia. The idea of transfer people and treat people as material to maximize the outcome without any value, without human endeavor. You know, people talk about Gaza without any human value. Who did that? Who's responsible? How many people got
Yeah.
killed? The life of America. Even when the White House secretary backtracking today and said, "No, Trump didn't mean that. We're gonna send troops. We're gonna spend money, or we're gonna do this." It's all material thinking. There is no accountability or talking about the human cost or the human value is almost 100,000 person have been killed in genocide. They didn't talk about that. It's all about material analysis and a spreadsheet and how much money we're going to
Right.
make. What is he thinking? It's been going on for years. It's not just Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I was going to say, so first, a couple of observations here again is that I think it's ironic, especially coming from Trump, who complains about immigration, complains about what people crossing borders or what refugees or something like that. Isn't he creating the very problem, that he wants to sort of criticize? But isn't that sort of the issue that we've seen in the West for what 500 years, if not maybe longer, or something like that, is that, the British colonialization or the colonialization of Africa, whatever it may be, or something like that, it's creating the very refugee crisis that they want to denounce. The second thing is, I think you were hitting at it here, is that this is basically what Trump is proposing here is a violation of international law. It's genocide. It's ethnic cleansing. I'm trying to avoid using the term, but I'm going to use it here. After 80 years of Palestinian Israeli conflict, Netanyahu and Trump are executing a final solution. I mean, I'm hesitant to invoke that phrase because we all know what the final solution refers to, from World War II. But in some sense, this is the final solution, is that we are going to basically destroy the Palestinians. We are going to remove them to who knows where they're going to go. And Basically, that's our solution to the problem. And Trump's rhetoric, even if he quote, even if he doesn't really mean it, his rhetoric is terroristic. His rhetoric is what aggression in and of itself.
You know, we've been talking about Trump every day, and everybody, think Trump said this and Trump said that, and the liberal democracy think Trump is the cause of the problem. This has been happening way before Trump.
That's right.
Tr- Trump did not commit or participate in a genocide. That was Biden and the Democrats
Right.
and the Western democracy all participated in this genocide.
Yeah.
So I don't think Trump is just, as I said, is like a village idiot. He comes and say shoot out of
Yeah.
his mouth, but he exposes everybody. In a way, Trump exposes the Zionist project.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
about Jewish homeland. It's not about democratic state of Israel. It's just a pure evil coming to ethnic cleanse people, to clear the land and bring other people. They always say land without people for people without land. This is actually what happened. There are people there, and
Yeah.
they demonizing them in the last 15 months. They call them animals, cockroaches. We're gonna kill you all. And this is actually it's like the official stand. This Palestinians do not deserve this land and do not even
Right.
deserve to.
I could almost argue and say that from the very birth of Israel, its birth was birth like its birth or origin was what, based upon the destruction of the of Palestinian rights, Palestinian property rights, and a destruction of their culture. And over time, it's not just Netanyahu. Take us back, how many years? The increasing efforts to for lack of a better term, to colonize various parts of land that Israel took, through wars, through illegal settlements, et cetera, et cetera. And the United States has either been tacitly approving it, complicit, or maybe supporting it. But at the end of the day, as you're hitting at here, what it really looks like is official policy. And Trump, to me, is just the figurehead for a series of policies that have been really coming for years. And thus, this week, when he said, let's just remove the Palestinians, isn't he just sort of saying what everybody knows Israel and the United States has wanted to do? I mean, to me, it's kind of like it's stripping naked the rhetoric.
But Hegelian, you're looking at the history Hegelian way, history repeats itself, but second time in a farcical way. I mean, is this really a farce? The second time of the Nakba?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the a piece I have coming out in Counterpunch basically makes this argument. One of my favorite lines from Karl Marx is a wonderful line that says, "History repeats itself. The first time is tragedy, second time is farce." And that's what's going on here. Is that if the first time was the founding of Israel, stealing the land, now this is the farce. And what I mean by a farce at this point, it's again stripping to the reality that really looks like for how many years Israel has been trying to take more and more land, create an apartheid state. I mean, it agrees occasionally to make it look like it wants a two-state solution or the Oslo Accords or whatever like that. But the reality is, they've never really been interested in affording real rights within Israel for Palestinians. And now it's clear they don't want a separate state, and they don't even want the Palestinians around.
And even the Palestinians, the million Palestinians who are living in Israel, they did not leave during the Nakba, but they never accepted Palestinian political rights.
Right.
They
Yeah,
don't. They never admitted the Palestinians have political rights, so
that's
they
right.
don't even
That's right.
exist. We're gonna just have those because we are nice to them, and they have to be there as a second or third
Yeah.
citizen.
Yeah. Isn't it sort of like Israel has been for how many years, like South Africa was, an apartheid regime? It really has been. I mean, and so that's why I go back. Within Israel, it's an apartheid regime, and now it's denial of let's say even the right of the Palestinians to exist on land that Israel hasn't yet stolen, but it's now planning on stealing with Trump's complicity. I mean, this is more than just simply apartheid. Remember, an international court of justice last year said that what Israel is engaging in is potentially genocide. The International Criminal Court has issued a warrant for Netanyahu's arrest. The international community, the official international community, is saying what Israel is doing uh, is illegal, and clearly what Trump is proposing also violates supposedly the international law of which the United States, at least in theory, is sworn to uphold.
So why do you think we know this is not going to happen? I mean, the whole world was fighting the Palestinians in Gaza.
Right.
All the Western world, even the Arab Zionists, participated in eliminating the resistance in Gaza, but they
Yeah.
couldn't do it. They just destroyed Gaza, but
Right.
Hamas and resistant forces are still strong. And so, what are they trying to do? Why meeting a war criminal meeting a criminal, and they are in the front of the international press, and they announce something like that? What's going on behind the scene? We
Boy,
don't
that's
know,
a
but
we don't obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes here. Um, if I'm speculating, it's simply about dollars, simply about dollars at this point. but there may be more things going on here. But that's how I would view it with Trump at this point. I mean, what's your theory? What's your theory in terms of what's going on here?
So this is not about the promised land anymore.
No, it's not.
God did not promise you this land, so you develop it to resorts and hotels
Yeah,
and all of that. I think Netanyahu it took Israel and
right,
Israelis military to a defeat,
right,
an embarrassing defeat,
right.
against a few thousand resistant, and uh, and both of them are just trying to divert attention on the genocide that took place in the last 15 months.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think about Trump's opening couple of weeks of his second term as president here. He's issuing lots of executive orders, doing lots of different things. I think a lot of it is just diversion. A lot of it is shifting our attention away from other stuff that he wants to accomplish. Like I still say domestically, he's issuing executive orders about trans, about all kinds of people. What he really wants, I think, on one level, it's about money for him and his friends. It's about the tax cuts. It's about other things that are going on out there. So
Exactly.
he throws tons of stuff out there. The Democrats get hot and bothered by all these other things,
Mhm.
and it distracts them away from sort of the core stuff that's going on. Trump coming out and saying, "Oh, we're just going to remove everybody from Gaza." You're right. It's not practical. It's not going to happen, but it's a diversion from perhaps other issues that Trump wants to focus in on, or get us to not to pay attention to that, or to get us to not think about what the United States and Israel have been doing.
And the United States is not an empire. I mean, it's a dying empire,
Yeah,
empire, and the role in the Middle East is diminishing. Zionism post America,
yeah.
what's going to look like?
In 1941, Henry Luce wrote a piece called The American Century. Well, and about getting the United States involved in the world and creating its tentacles everywhere. If my math is correct, we're about 80 to 85 years into the American century. We may be getting to the end of the American century. It is the end of a post-colonial, as you say, post-America world. And what Israel has to worry about is the fact that it has had the United States there since 1947 to protect it. Well, if the United States is no longer there, like in Europe, Eastern Europe is worried about the same thing now. Israel has to worry about what? How does it protect itself? How does it survive in a post American world where America has defended the security of Israel? Again, for literally 80 years, if my math is correct or something like that. So, what we're seeing here, I think, is the scrambling of let us say, um, post satellite states for the United States, trying to figure out how to emerge from being satellites when I'm trying to think of the right word here when their protector is no longer there.
Well, they have to find a new master. I mean, it
Yes,
used to be the French, British, and then the American. Now, where are we going to go? I mean, the Arab Zionists cannot sustain this.
that's right.
And now I think the Arab Zionists now they are just shitting their pants.
About the restructuring of America, where that unipolar moment is gone, that moment of American supremacy is fading away. And how do we, as a country, the United States, adjust as it basically has to downscale? And how does the rest of the world have to readjust in terms of downscaling?
Well, Professor David Schultz, professor of political science at Hamlin University, wrote an article is going to publish a counterpunch tomorrow or next week about the new outrageous proposal of Trump about ethnic cleansing Gaza and the second Nakba. It's almost farcical, and it's amazing that somebody like Trump is playing the second Balfour. He's promised the Zionist project.
Yes.
This is the second. The history is repeating itself, but we have a clown as Balfour. So.
Yeah.
Marx wasn't that far-fetched. Second time,
Yeah.
it's gonna
I
be a
think of
farce.
yeah. I think of an old New Yorker cartoon. Takes us back to the 1970s, gosh, when Richard Nixon was president and he was ordering the CIA to do a whole bunch of different things. And I can't remember all the context now. But it's an old New Yorker cartoon that was quoting the language. Well, who was it now? Who did the song "Send in the Clowns"? I'm trying to remember who it was now. But anyhow, all I can think of is that what we should be doing, we should be ending our talk today with playing Judy Collins. That's who it was.
There
We
we
should
go.
be playing Judy Collins's "Send in the Clowns." That might capture really well where we are right now.
Well, the clown now is running the circus.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and we'll be talking. It's not going to go out. This guy's going to be entertaining for the next 4 years.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we have a lot of material. We're never going to run out of materials.
All right.
So we'll see you soon. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Send in the clouds. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps turning round, one who can't move. Where are the clouds? Send